Tower, you're seeing this airplane just crash into three.
얘와 기타. Yo, твою мать!
Pat 25, get the Jersey in flight. Pat 25, pass line is Jersey. Good service.
American 472 by Bass, operating visual.
American 472, watch star 1 star 32017.
Did you see that?
472. American 4130, go around, turn left end 250, climb maintain 3000.
Okay, left end 350, 3000, American 3130. Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final request, runway 33, circle to 33. Take it.
When you look at it, aviation is still pretty safe. It's 6 times safer than going out in your motor car, would you believe? So that is when you take on a worldwide basis and you look at the number of passengers carried and the number of aircraft in the air at any one time. So that is the yardstick, even though when these accidents and incidents do happen, they tend to be quite dramatic in terms of casualties and the outcome. So obviously, I'm not making light of it, but I'm saying overall, it is still a safe way to fly.
It's wrong place, wrong time. Because it is clear air turbulence. The pilots in the cockpit, we can't see the turbulence. It's just wind after all. There's no detection on our radar system. It doesn't detect the change of wind. So we can only rely on our experience, knowing there's going to be onset of turbulence. We try to warn the passengers ahead of time, see the cabin crew, stop them from servicing hot beverages, for example. The best we can do is to do escape maneuver. It sounds dramatic, but for us just to leave that layer of turbulence, we usually descend, because normally when we're in cruise, we're already fairly close to our maximum altitude in terms of aircraft capabilities.
The other thing that's happening later, that's conflict zones. We haven't actually mentioned those yet. So you've got to look out for turbulence. You've also got to look out for missiles, because it used to be that you'd say, if you're traveling at 32,000 feet, that should be okay, because missiles won't go up that high. Unfortunately, they do. And so rather than going through conflict zones, you either have to go around. Now, this will affect long-haul flights, because it means that quite substantially they've got to alter their air routes, and the journey is going to be longer. They're going to burn up more fuel and so on. It's not a gamble. You take a sort of a controlled risk as to whether you go through a conflict zone. And you'll find that a lot of people are now preferring not to go through conflict zones and go around. But that's mainly involved long-haul aircraft rather than short-haul. The problem you have with conflict zones is that they tend to spring up very quickly. And you might get 2 or 3 conflict zones that almost touch each other. So they're round blobs, if you like. That's a conflict zone. Another conflict zone comes up, and then suddenly you've got a huge conflict zone, but it's controlled by competing factions or 2 different authorities. And so you do have a problem there. Or you might find a country will close down its airspace very, very quickly, even when you've got aircraft in the sky. And so very quickly, your aircraft has to divert. Has it got enough fuel on board to do it? Because you don't necessarily load up your aircraft with the maximum amount of fuel for each flight. You work out what you're going to use on the flight, and then you have a margin for delays, stacking, and all the rest of it. And if that doesn't work, then you had to divert to the nearest airport to refuel. Well, we had a situation in Egypt at one time where we found that that entire families had actually taken over all the functions of that airport, and some of the members of a particular family weren't exactly trained up to levels, and they had sort of homemade certificates and things like that. So this is where the international operators have to say, well, either you buck your ideas up, or we're taking our business out of your airport. And that has been done in the past. We've found that people won't fly to certain airports. They'll fly to the destination, but it'll be to another airport, or they'll just, or in extreme cases, they'll take the destination, resorts, whatever. In fact, in Sharm el-Sheikh, they'll take it off their schedule, and they will tell their charter people, no, we're not going there anymore. You'll have to find another way of getting your people there if you still want to go there. So it really is as serious as that. And you usually find that the government, when they understand that is happening, and it actually comes down to money, the revenue they're not going to get, then they do jump on it. So that is really what happens. So yes, it's a dynamic situation. I think that's the way to phrase that. But you hope everybody is on top of it. And you know, we get fed up when we go through security. You're held in a line, and you suddenly find that you know, everything in your luggage is being examined, is being opened up, it's been X-rayed, but you might have actually brushed up against somebody else who's had that particular taint on their clothing. You don't know, or your coat's been on a rack next to somebody else's. These things do happen, but it all has to be checked out, and really that's the way it's done.